Hey man, welcome to All Packed Up with PAKMULE. We're just gonna jump right in. I'm sweating over here in Texas. Where are you at?
Bozeman, Montana. Yep.
Bozeman, Montana. I would assume you're not sweating it up over there.
We are not. No, I woke up. It almost felt like it wanted to frost, but yeah, early September, and I would have to say, low 70s for the highs. Pretty typical September for us, and kind of lows right now are about 50 degrees at night. So, just starting to think about putting another blanket on the bed, and yeah, where seasons are changing quick. Leaves are already changing here in town. It's pretty crazy.
We're like a couple of old men here, but I gotta be honest, like where we live out here in Central Texas, it is so nice to hear someone say the word frost and a little bit of oh man, I can't wait. I can't wait to wear a jacket,
I think we take it for granted a little bit here that the season change sure is pretty pleasant.
I'm sure the beauty too. Good Lord.
Yeah.
I just see rocks and concrete right now. Although it's beautiful out here, hill country.
I can, yeah, I can just see the tips of the Bridger Mountains here from my office. So yeah, we're pretty fortunate to be here.
All right, take it easy, buddy.
Sorry. Yeah.
No.
20% humidity.
Keep it going. So Shane, here you are, Riffle Media, man. We just want to, here on All Packed Up, we're all about getting outside, talking to people who go outside, who do cool things, have cool jobs, go on cool adventures. We're just all about helping people go on those adventures and do those things, not only with our product, of course, PAKMULE, but also just like with the partners and people that we get to do business with. And like you, Shane, I don't know how long you've been sending stuff to PAKMULE or had a PAKMULE, but as long as I've been here, and I'm a hunter, as long as I've been here, you've been kind of been what I would call a PAKMULE partner. And so we love to get your content that you send us. We love to see the shoots that you go on, all that stuff. And we just want to talk about that. We want to talk about all of that. So I'd love to just hear, tell the people kind of like what you do. Like what is Riffle Media? Who is Sean?
Yeah.
Or Shane. I'm so sorry.
So, so I started Riffle Media in February of 2020. You can imagine how exciting that was, kind of not knowing what was in store in about 2 weeks. I think I
What did you do before that?
LLC. I worked for a business here in town, and that's where I got my start in digital marketing and outdoor photography. Kind of got shipped all around the world, went to New Zealand and, did some stuff in Oregon, New Mexico, Colorado, kind of that Rocky Mountain West, documenting hunts for top tier outdoor brands, Tik Gear, Leica. We did some stuff with Schnee's boots. So that was where I cut my teeth. And then, like I said, February of 2020, I thought I was going to be this cool, big new business owner. And March 10th, that was all put on hold a little bit. And of all things, I reached out, just kind of, got a dial for dollars a little bit. And I emailed PAKMULE and got a response from Kansas. And, he said, happy to talk, but right now, of course, it's just not the time for anyone to be thinking about growing a business in March of 2020. So, I put that, kind of on the back burner, and then I would say fall of 21, I reached back out to Kansas, and things have of course changed. And then, that still wasn't the perfect time, but talked to him again in I guess summer last year, and jumped on board with PAKMULE to help provide some content here in Montana. So to step back, Riffle Media, I started it, to help small to medium-sized brands, specifically locally here, and do have 5 different brands that I help with digital marketing, social media, kind of like to say it, jack of all trades. So, a lot of these small brands, they need help with a little bit of everything. So, I enjoy just going into their offices and just sitting with them and, being able, if it's to make an email, that's great. If it's to do a social post, that's great. If it's to help answer some customer service emails, just to, help these guys out, just to the best of my ability. So, and then do authentic outdoor photography, in the fly fishing space. And then most recently really growing into the upland hunting world. My background is big game hunting. That's kind of where I really cut my teeth. But, I have a 6-month-old at home now, little Nora, and turns out it's a little
Little
difficult to
game
do
hunting now.
7 to 10 day. It's more little game hunting that, it's tough to do a 7-day archery elk hunt right now. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And I do love the upland hunting. It's really, grasp onto me. I've got 2 German wire hares, Gin and Fitz, and I love chasing those guys around in the fall. It's a special time for me.
That's awesome, man. So digital marketing, you kind of cut your teeth doing some, I guess, media capturing for brands, and then got into digital marketing. Now do that for yourself, for some local brand or just brands in general. You're based up in Montana. Did you grow up in Montana?
No, I didn't. I actually just talked to my dad about this just 2-3 days ago. I made my first trip to Montana. I'm 34 now. Made my first trip to Montana when I was 11. Some family members own property on the Boulder River in Big Timber, and I remember we landed in Billings. We drove to Big Timber, which is about an hour drive. And for my dad and I, we had never been out west. We'd never seen a mountain. And I remember my dad waking me up at 6 a.m. that first morning and just telling me, you've got to come outside and see this. And here we are next to the Boulder River, and there's mountains all over. And I remember my dad looking at me and he goes, I'm going to retire here. And the recession hit Michigan in 2007. And my parents were like, screw it, we're out of here. Let's go to Montana. Let's pack it up and go for something totally different. And the entire family hasn't looked back. It's been a pretty fun adventure here since 2007.
It's a pretty cool story. Obviously, it's like a big memory for you at 11, driving into Montana, seeing mountains. You said mountains for the first time. And like, does that stick with you? Was that a part of your outdoorsness growth? Was that a part of getting into that, or did you not know it at the time?
I definitely took it for granted. Gosh, after that first trip, I would come out for a month during the summers. My parents would throw me on an airplane and I would live on the Boulder River for a month every summer and taught myself how to fly fish. And, once my cousin and I, once we got driver's license, gosh, the Boulder River Valley was our backyard, and, driving up and down and fishing every little cutout and corner that we could and exploring the mountains. And, it didn't really dawn on me until we moved here just how big of an impact those summer vacations had on me. But once I moved out here, the first day I lived here, I went and bought a fly rod at Sportsman's Warehouse, and I never looked back. I jumped in so hard with both feet, and, I'd fished 80 to 100 days a year, just before work, after work, go at night, whatever it took. I jumped in with both feet pretty hard. So
it reminds me a lot of, when I was a kid, my dad, I have like this weird trigger if I'm really late at night or driving. You turn on morning radio, like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. It's like the surf report. I grew up in Houston, so outside of Galveston, and you'd hear like where the fish are biting and all that. I forgot the name of it, but those memories, and then going to fish on the jetties. As a kid, I was like, I don't want to do this, And now that I have a son, those are like the things that I cherish. Like those are the things that I want to build, not only for myself and like you said, like jumping into fly fishing feet first, but it's also things that I'd like to do with my own son. So like, I completely understand that and get that. That's super cool. All right. So you love fly fishing. A client of mine is Tom Morgan Rodsmith here in Bozeman that, they're a custom fly rod manufacturer. It's amazing to be a part of their business. But I just wrote a blog yesterday for those guys about my daughter's first summer here in Montana and how my wife Jasmine and I we vowed to each other, like, we are going to show this little girl why we love this state. And, we've had her in the drift boat 6 days, and she's camped in our camper 4 days, just same thing. Like, you're going, you're going to learn this, see what this state's all about and why we choose to call it home. I love that. Now, have you been to Texas? Because we'll sway you.
I have been to Austin in August. What a little hot box.
Never going back.
Been to Austin and Marfa. So that's and now Marfa is the cool place. So I feel
Marfa
fortunate to
seems
have
like the
seen it
right
10 years
creative
ago.
choice for a creative. So
Yeah.
I understand that. So you say you lived and breathed fly fishing. When you got out there, you did before, after work, all of that. How did that transfer into big game hunting and getting into what other outdoor, I would say, activities are you super into?
Yeah. So when I moved out here, fly fishing was, it was obtainable. Gosh, when you look at these mountains, you feel pretty overwhelmed if you've never hunted in them before. I mean, you look at the Bridgers and you're like, I have to walk up that to go elk hunting. Like, so that's why I feel fly fishing, it was obtainable for me. It was less intimidating, I guess. I could kind of teach myself a little bit easier than walking around in the mountains and never seeing anything and not knowing why. As I continue to live here, I actually worked at Sportsman's Warehouse for 4 years. And that was probably the best thing that I could have done for my outdoor journey was, I met people my own age, and I met gosh, I'm still friends with people that I worked with, 10 years ago. And that was where I had a couple people that helped me cut my teeth on the elk hunting. But then when it really came down to it, I met one guy, and I'm sure that at some point he'll listen to this, Stephen Drake, which you guys are familiar with. You've chatted with Steve before, and I met Steve and ended up moved in with him, and we had the ultimate bachelor pad of elk sheds and eating canned chili out of the pot with a wooden spoon. But he really took me under his wing, and we hunted our faces off. It was just, that was exactly the big game push that I needed, was just somebody that was always just wanting company and always invited me along. And, living together, it made it super easy for us to just, gosh, looking back on it, I still can't believe the amount of midnight Taco Bell that we ate after archery elk hunting or spring bear hunting or anything like that. I mean, it was pretty wild, but that was where I really started to learn the mountains and learn the big game hunting game was with Steve. And that was also who I'll credit for getting me into photography. So owe a lot to him.
Yeah, it's great to find like that person who travels with you, adventures you, teaches you, like,
Yep.
where it's like a workout partner or whatever. It's that, I'm a big learner through mentorship. And so like, I completely understand that, man. Finding somebody who kind of takes you along with that. I think that's super valuable, super important.
Yep. Yeah. I'll never be able to thank him enough for that. So, and yeah, we're still friends. Gosh, it's pretty wild. 15 years later and thousands of miles, it seems like we're still we're still good friends. So
it's awesome. Well, kind of switching into learning photography, I feel like you do something that a lot of people who reach out to us or people I see, they'd like to do, which is, you go to a brand, you take a product, you take it out into nature, into a natural sequence, you make a scene, you produce a scene, and you shoot curated content for that brand. And I think that's super cool. Like,
yep.
For me personally, I've done photo video. And so it's like, oh, I want to be a Nat Geo person. I want to travel and do this. I want to shoot outdoor stuff. Like, that would be amazing. What led you to get into that? And then, like, of course, as you talk to that a bit, I mean, you already kind of talked about that. As you talk about it more, what is it like? What would you have to say to people who are interested in doing outdoor photography, whether it's animals, brands, etc.?
Yeah, I guess I'll touch that. When I met Steve, and when we would do these hunting trips, whether it be after work, before work, whatever, his camera was always with him, and it was so easy for me to just pick it up and take some pictures. And he enjoyed it because somebody was taking a picture of him, which is always kind of fun. And then all of a sudden, people would start to say, wow, that was a cool picture that you took, or, wow, how did you see that? And I had no idea. I just thought taking pictures was a unique opportunity just for me to post pictures on Facebook for, high school friends to see, like, look how cool I am living in Montana in the mountains. And turns out I always enjoyed to take pictures, but I never thought of it as we'll just call it an income stream or a passion, or it was nothing more than I just took some pictures. So again, being with Steve and really just him just cutting me loose. Yeah, go for it. Grab the camera and have fun. Go push buttons, play around, learn, kind of what these cameras do, that was where it really started to kick off for me. I was taught by Steve to be, very authentic. Nothing gets staged, and nothing gets staged to this day. To be completely truthful with you, it's shoot it in the moment, and if you don't get it, then it's time you just got to try it again. Maybe that means, if you're photographing an elk hunt, like you can't tell the hunter to stop because the light's perfect if we're chasing bugles. You just you got to be behind them, and you've got to be thinking, a couple steps in front of the hunter of, the log that they're going to have to cross. Like, you better run in front of them, because you're not going to tell the hunter who's chasing a bugle to slow down so you can get the picture. And that's still how I like to operate my photography and my shoots, is just very authentic. Don't worry about me, just do your thing. And, I have, talent, friends, models, whatever we want to call them, that, are always looking at me and saying, "Oh, are you ready?" Yeah, it's just, you do your thing and we'll just figure it out. And I'm going to be over your shoulder taking pictures, but just kind of keep it authentic, keep it real. Cause I really do believe that that comes across big time in the end result, for sure. You start faking stuff too much.
Absolutely. The cheese.
And then,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. You can really start to feel it in the content, and you can tell that maybe smiles aren't genuine, or, product placement isn't perfect. Like, I would rather just photograph somebody, loading up a pack mule authentically and how they would do it, instead of putting fake things on the pack mule. Let's put the cooler on it. We don't need to put 18 tires on top of it. It's all good. So my advice for photographers, people wanting to get into this, and I'll be completely honest, Hunter, I've never been asked this question. So I'm going to kind of shoot from the hip here.
Be authentic.
It's so much about relationship building. Yeah, it's be authentic. It's, if you want to, start to work with brands, it's that, maybe it's the LinkedIn connection, or maybe it's the Instagram, engagement of, it's, I don't know, I hate to say it's a slow burn, it's also making sure that your content aligns with what the brand's already is doing. And I think that's why it was such a natural fit with PAKMULE, and our content that was being used on your account, on the, PAKMULE Instagram account, was already so fitting to what I do. That would be a big one. It might be your dream brand, but if your style of content doesn't, really align with what they're already sharing, that's a tough one to change, for sure.
Yeah, that's good. I don't want to back us up too far, but so to understand, did you used to document actual hunts? Like people go on elk hunts and you document that? How did you get into that? Yeah.
Yeah, I've again, we're going to talk about Steve Drake more than myself or anybody else in this, but Steve helped me get a job here in Bozeman that was a digital marketing agency and a photography agency. And so I ended up, just being fortunate enough, ended up being a shooter for the team, and had brands like Sitka say, we need a photographer to go to New Zealand to document the new subalpine pattern. And Sitka shipped me to New Zealand for 2 weeks to start documenting the subalpine. Or same thing, hey, we've got, we need help on an elk hunt in New Mexico in October, and then shipping me down for a 7-day elk hunt in New Mexico. So yeah, it was very much, there's a couple of years there that I never even archery hunted. I was just following people along for the month of September, which is really cool. It actually really made me jaded to archery hunting, because I got to see some really cool places. Peak of the Rut, like there's some places that it was of course private, but yeah, gosh, I tell you what, I have had more big bulls screaming in my face with a camera in my hand than just, yeah, it was pretty fun. There's a couple Septembers there that I'll never forget for the rest of my life. Some of the things that I got to see. So
that's awesome. It's awesome that you have a skill that gives you those opportunities, and it's also in an avenue of something that you yourself love. I think that's super cool. And that's kind of like the dream, I think, for creatives. I love what you said about making sure that your style, your tone aligns with what a brand is. And I think that's, as a creative, think it's a lot of thing that people miss, that like, you know, like you have an audience, you have somebody that connects well with you, whether it's your work or who you are as a person, and finding that. And that's where, you know, that's where that kismet is, of like finding a person or a brand that really resonates with what you're doing artistically. That's super
Yep.
cool.
Yep. You were
Helps
spot
to love
on.
the outdoors.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, well, I don't even have a brand off the top of my head, but I've definitely had some dream brands that, I'm like, gosh, it would be really cool to work with those guys. And then you get looking on their Instagram and you get looking on their website, and it's like, gosh, my style and kind of their brand direction and their brand guidelines, it just doesn't align. So why, there's no sense in me, reaching out to them and trying to build a relationship there when it's just the alignment just isn't there. So that'd be a big piece of advice, is shoot for the people that fit your business model and your mission statement already.
Yeah, I love that. And I feel like that aligns with a lot of what you've said about, you kind of have an integrity about authenticity. And so like just being yourself
Yep.
and being authentic, whether it's doing the shoot, or approaching a brand to do the work. What's kind of like on the horizon for Riffle Media? What's new for you? What's next? What are you working towards, et cetera?
Yeah. Next is kind of, if you can see, if we use this video, is the gear pile behind me is starting to build. Here in my office, I'm actually leaving tomorrow. It'd be September 8th, going on a 4-day bird hunt and content mission with 3 friends, going with 2 good friends of mine, and then one guy that I threw an invite out to, and he's from, I think Hayden's from Florida. Gosh, if you listen to this, Hayden, I don't even know what state you live in. So another internet friend, we'll call it. Kind of expanding the circle. I love it when people take me up on my offers. I told Hayden, he works for Costa Del Mar Sunglasses, and told Hayden, come on up, man. We're doing a bird trip and you're more than welcome to join us. So he's here for, I think, a month, 3 weeks, something like that. So I'm going to get to expand the bird hunting circle with him for over the weekend. So really looking forward to that. And then we're going to roll in right into, it's going to turn into pretty much, big game season here in Montana. It'll start October 1st. And got some antelope trips lined up, and then pheasant season starts, and then we're going to roll right into general rifle season, which is all in November. So that's kind of the short term. Got some cool trips lined up there. Will be with me, of course, and but moving forward, it's really going to be continue growing that photography side of the business for me. I'm really passionate about it, really enjoy it, and it's going to continue to grow into some new segments for me, I hope, is, starting to look at some ice fishing stuff, turning into, everything into more of a 12-month business instead of just, September through December for our fall season, is, start you're rolling into some ice fishing stuff. And, there's always some cool, really unique, like cross-country ski opportunities that, again, I'm looking to, like, what photos do I see that I think my style can improve upon, and trying something different and kind of think outside the box. So looking into more of that, different sport outside of the fly fishing and the hunting that I've done. So that's kind of the 6 to 9 month goal, we'll call it. Grow into some new spaces.
Sounds pretty dang good. I love that. You talk about, your opening story about your dad taking you to Montana, waking you up, look at the mountains. One day I'm going to retire here. Love that. Now you're a father. Yeah. And the space that you're in, of working outdoors, of being in the outdoors, whether it's hunting with your friends or fishing, and then also documenting it, having a child now, does that you feel like influence any of how you want to raise your child, what you want them to learn about the world, about conservation, about whatever? I mean, there's no wrong answers here, but I would just be curious to know what you think as someone in those spaces.
Yeah. Oh gosh. I look at Nora and, and I'm like, gosh, I really hope that this little girl is going to be into the fly fishing and, be into the hunting, and regardless if she is or if she isn't, like, I hope she has an appreciation for the outdoors. I follow a guy Instagram. His name's Dan Levins, Dan Rooster Levins, lives in Twin Bridges, and he's got two girls that are absolute badasses. I don't even know how old they are. 11 and 13. Dan, if you end up listening to this, I'm sorry. We don't even know each other, but I definitely admire his style. You know, his daughters are rowing his drift boat already, and they're netting fish, and they're catching fish, and they're elk hunting with him, and they're following bird dogs. And I'm like, gosh, that is, you know, if I was to pick a hope for Nora, it would be that. But like I said, you know, if it's not where she's at, that's fine. I hope that she can appreciate, you know, going on a hike here in the mountains in Bozeman, and, you know, knowing what's exactly in our backyard. I mean, gosh, in 10 minutes, we can be on a 15-mile trail ride if we want to, for mountain biking or trail running or on a hike. Hope she understands that that's literally right in her backyard. I hope that it teaches her, you know, I hope hunting can teach her that we have 2 freezers here in the house full of elk meat and antelope meat and mule deer steaks and, you know, every sort of sausage that you can ask for. And I really hope on the conservation side that, you know, she can appreciate what hunting is, and, you know, how fortunate we are that we do have these freezers of, you know, the catchphrase is the organic and clean meat, but it's true. We've got, you know, we're really fortunate to have that. And if anything, I hope she can appreciate that too.
Well, I just hope for your sake she's not a vegetarian then.
That's all right. All right,
more meat for you.
I might have to save this. Yeah, more elk steaks for us. But that's the hope. And, you know, we do have a garden here in the backyard that, you know, I hope, if anything, if she is a vegetarian, hey, we can grow our own veggies. And, you know, my father-in-law is a pretty acclaimed professor here at Montana State University on the agriculture side, and he's got a home garden. Gosh, we have 3 gardens in our family that, you know, everything from carrots and sweet corn to tomatoes and potatoes, and we've got sweet peas and green beans. And so she is going to have no shortage of opportunities to, you know, really to truly know where her food comes from. So that'll be really neat as she grows.
That's awesome. I love that. You know, something we always ask people here is, what does the outside mean to them? What does outdoors mean to them? You know, the product we sell, the things we do here are all about making it easier and more accessible for people to get out with people that they love. I'm not going to do a sales pitch, but you know what I mean? Like, it's just getting it out there. And so that's what we're about. That's our mantra. And so for you, like, what does the outdoors mean to you? To Riffle Media, to Shane Rickert, Riff?
Yeah. Gosh, that's another good question, Hunter. The outdoors to me, without counting, you know, I guess being an outdoorsman, and we'll say that loosely because that can fall for hunters, fishermen, hikers, backpackers. It doesn't matter what it is. These hobbies that we have, or these professions that we're fortunate enough to be in, they're all, in my opinion, they're a great excuse to be outside. Hunting has taken me to places in Montana specifically that I would never even know exist if I didn't do, you know, an outdoor activity. Again, it doesn't matter what it is. You're a landscape photographer, you're a nightscape photographer, or a fossil hunter, whatever. Like, so the outdoors to me, it's that ability to have that excuse for my passions, and my passions have grown because of the outdoors. I mean, we can be out of cell service here in Bozeman in 15 minutes, and you're on the Gallatin River and no cell phone in your pocket. How cool is that? I think that's pretty rare to find these days. And to be able to stand in cold water and catch wild trout and not get the email notification. I'm still blown away that in 2024, I can be out of cell service that quickly in a town of 50,000 people. And that's what the outdoors mean to me. It really is. You can be, I don't know, is it cheesy to say healed? Is it easy to, you know, stay relaxed, kind of a good reset, I guess. I think a lot of those places and a lot of those things are missing from people these days, is just to take the phone out of their pocket and has no service, you know? So
I love that. I think it's good. I mean, your story about losing cell phone service in 15 minutes and not being able to get your emails did give me a lot of anxiety, but I can understand how it would be a good thing.
Yeah,
but that's the
we have
thing, right? That's what we need.
We have there's a float in Montana called it's called the Smith River. You got to apply for a permit, and you're going to draw it. I don't know, maybe every 5 years. Gosh, I know people that have waited 15 to 20 years to draw this river permit and have yet to draw it. It takes 5 days. It's a 60-mile float. You're out of service for 5 days, and I think it's pretty cool for the lower 48 that Montana has that in our backyard where, yeah, you turn off a pavement and onto dirt and you lose service and you don't have service for 5 days. And so we really are fortunate that Montana has that to offer still, and where we can really truly disconnect.
That sounds incredible. Honestly, that sounds awesome. Tell the people where they can find you, what you got going on, anything you're working on, stuff like that.
Yeah, you can find me, good old Instagram, pretty standard. Username, my personal one is Shane_Rickert. And then for the business side, where I like to post more client work, is Riffle Media. You can find me there. Got our website as well, rifflemediamt.com. And again, you're going to find some select images, some of my favorites there, just from, gosh, I was just looking at my Lightroom catalog. I've got 85,000 photos on the hard drive. So you're going to find some of those real true favorites on the website as well. Some of the, keep them off the Instagram. Gotta go to the website to check them out.
Heck yeah. In fact, you can also go to the PAKMULE Instagram, see some of his work. And then if you ever come into the office, I'm actually going to pick it up today. We have a photo in our front office of yours. That'll be pretty incredible. And I'll send you photos of that when we get it hung up.
Yeah. Okay.
But we're super proud of it.
See it. It's going to be really good.
And thankful for the work that you do. All right. Well, hey, man.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Everybody. Riffle Media, thanks for being on. And I look forward to talking with you and getting some of your photos in the future.
You bet, Hunter. Really appreciate it. And thanks for everyone for tuning in. Appreciate it.
All right. See ya.